Hello, everybody. I am here to show you how to use Sketchpad.app. Again, Sketchpad.app is right up here. This is the website. Yesterday, I showed you how to create basic shapes and how to use gradient to make those basic shapes look kind of 3D. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to create kind of more complicated shapes so that you can start to make what looks like an animal. So Sketchpad is not really a drawing app. Um, that's all I'm going to tell you. There are definitely drawing tools on here, but it's not really the best for drawing. But you can make really kind of cartoony or graphic looking animals using it. So we're going to just practice it by using one of their already made graphic looking animals. So what you're going to do is the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth one down. It says clip art. You're going to click there. This is the only time we're going to do this. You're going to click cartoon owl. So you're going to click in there and there's cartoon owl. There are so many things in here. There are so many different things in here. But for our purpose today, I'm going to have us do cartoon owl. So we're going to make him fairly big, and I'll zoom in as I work on things. But I wanted to show you something to start with. First of all, if you notice the beak and the feet, they have a gradient. So it kind of looks like the sun's coming from up here, and it's hitting the side of the beak, but not this side. It's hitting the top of the legs, but not the bottom. But another way that you can tell that this thing is supposed to be kind of 3D looking is these dark areas underneath the nose, underneath the belly here on the wings. This tells us that this is kind of 3D and that the light's coming from up here and down. So those are things I wanted you to notice when you look at this. So I'm going to show you today how to turn this into, or how to start anyway, and then I'm going to ask you to finish it without my help. How to make this into an animal that you're kind of designing. So when you're thinking about creating your animals in this software, like I said, a lot of times you have to think about basic shapes and how you can layer those basic shapes to create the thing you want to create. So in graphic design, you rarely are using the drawing tools. You're often using the shape and line tools. So when we're looking at this, we can see that this is a circle, right? So I'm gonna go up to our shape tool, which is the fourth one down. Mine says square because that's the last one I did, but yours might be a star, it might be a rectangle, it might be a triangle, I don't know, but it's the fourth tool down. So you're going to make a circle. I'm going to then select the circle and put it kind of in the middle of my owl here. Now I need to make it as big as the owl itself. It might not be perfectly big, and that's okay. There we go. If you looked when I did the shape, I didn't change the fill and there is no outline. I don't want you to use an outline right now. You can choose whatever fill you want for this moment. But I don't want an outline for right now. And then I'm going to use that vector fill and watch this really cool thing you can do. If you're in color, you can actually choose this eyedropper. And then there's a little bit of that brown showing right there. So I'm going to click that and then click in here. And voila, now it's about the same color as the owl is. So what I'm going to do, I don't want this to stay here because I have other parts of the owl to draw. So I'm going to right click on it. Oh, sorry, I'm going to hit finish editing. And I'm going to select it using the select tool. And then I'm going to hit the options tool and send it to back. So when that's how you move the layers in Sketchpad. You could also take the layer and move it in here, right? You can also double click and change the name of the layer to owl body, and that way you'll know what's there. So the next thing I'm going to do is make the eyes. And if you look, the eyes are those ellipses. So I'm going to go back to my shape tool. They're going to be filled with white. They are going to be not circles, but ellipses. So I'm going to make my ellipse. I'm going to select it, bring it over here, and I'm just going to continue to grow it till it's about the size of this ellipse as well. Look right, maybe a little bit bigger, huh? That looks pretty good. Okay. Now, it's two ellipses on top of each other, right? I am going to make this have an outline on it. And I'm going to show you why in just a little bit. So I'm going to come up here and collect styles. And now I'm going to give it an outline. And I'm going to make that width about 12 pixels. About right. Because these eyes have an outline. I know I didn't do it on the body. Oh, and actually I could have done it on the body now that I look at it. Because initially I was thinking I couldn't do it on the body because of this. But that's going to get covered up. So we'll fix that in a little bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select that eye thing I just made. I'm going to go to options. I'm going to go to copy. And then I'm going to right click, paste. So now I can put those eyes next to each other. But when I do this, you're going to notice that there's this black area here, and you don't want that there, right? So what you're going to do is you are going to use another shape. And I'm going to use a rectangle for this because it just makes the most sense. Um, and I'm going to put that rectangle where I want it to go. And I don't want that rectangle to have a border, so I'm going to click on that, click on styles, and I'm going to take that outline off. And it looks like it needs to be a little bit smaller. Again, I'm just using the arrow tool on my keyboard to move it around. That looks all right to me. That looks pretty good. So now all of a sudden you can see, oh, I can see now that by using just putting that little square there, it blocks out the outline. So now it looks like those two things are together. So if I were to select, and I can hit shift and I can select multiple things at the same time. So I'm going to start by selecting the rectangle in the middle, keeping my finger on the shift button, and then clicking those two. I can then go to options and I can send them backwards. Come on, I guess send them to back. That's fine. Um, so if I were to hide the owl clip art, and I were to bring these three to the front, so you can see in graphic design, you're playing around with these layers a lot. Now you can start to see that it starts to look like that owl, right? Just a little bit. So I'm not going to show you how to do the middle of the eyes. That's something you're going to learn how to do yourself. You're going to do that yourself. What I'm going to show you how to do instead, well, first of all, I actually want to do this. I'm going to click on the ellipse, this circle, and I'm going to actually give it the outline that it's supposed to have. And I think that we decided it's around 7, no, 12. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do, so I'm going to hit this I button, and now I can see it again. I'm going to try to draw these eyebrows. Now, these eyebrows aren't really made up of different um, shapes. So now it's a time that we have to draw, but we're going to use these line tools. So the third one down, yours will probably actually say something along the lines of pencil or calligraphy, but the third tool down, and we're going to choose the path tool. I'm gonna have the fill be white because that's what this is, and the outline is going to be that one that's like 12, I think is what we decided this is about. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the corner of this here, and then when I move that point, sorry, I just messed up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna click this corner here, and then I'm going to go about a third of the way up the eyebrow, and then to the end of the eyebrow. And now you can see that it's starting to let me kind of like make it kind of bendy. So I'm gonna click here, and then I'm gonna click here, and then let it kind of be bendy so it looks like the eyebrow just a little bit. And then I'm gonna click up here, and then I'm gonna click near the end, but I'm gonna let it kind of get bendy so it looks like the eyebrow, and then I'm gonna close it. Now I can do things like move this point out here if I want to. I can take this handle and I can move it however I want till it looks exactly like I want it to look. So let me do that again. So I'm going to close that path, and I'm going to do it with the other eyebrow. So I came over here, I chose the path. I'm going to click down here. I'm going to go up just a little bit and then up. Oh, why is it not doing what I want it to do? So now it's going to let me start to spin things. I have found that this thing can totally sometimes be a little fiddly, so sometimes I have to delete it and do it again because it doesn't always work the way I want it to, which is annoying. Okay, there we go. Now I can start to, okay, great. So I'm going to bring this over here, and then I'm going to bring this over here, and then like start to curve it, and then I'm going to bring it down here, and then I'm going to bring it over here. Okay, so this isn't quite what I want it to look like, which is fine, because I can always move these things to be where I want them to be, and I can always, if I click on a point, you see how that little circle thing's there? That means that I can actually kind of mess with it to make it more what I want it to look like. So you can always make it look more what you want it to look like, and it's never going to be perfect. Sketchpad is not the best tool I've ever used in my life, so it's not going to always, it's never going to necessarily look perfect, but that's okay. So then I'm going to finish editing, and there I have my eyebrows. So again, if I take my owl and I take my clip art off, you can see that it starts to look a little bit like the owl. So now I want both of my paths to move down below the clip art. Again, voila. Pretty close. Not perfect, but it's close enough. So I'm going to do the same thing now for these wings right here. So the fill is going to be, let's just not have a fill for right now. So I'm just going to turn that fill off. And then I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to click here. And now I can start to kind of like bend things to make them look like I want it to look. You can see like how it's kind of drawing my line around for me. That's what I want it to do. It needs to kind of like, every time I draw something, I want it to kind of click, and then I'm just going to drag it till it's about where I want it to be. I've found that with Sketchpad, corners can be a little rough. So it's going to take time and practice for you to get good at this, and that's okay. Nothing in the art class should ever feel easy for you. It really shouldn't. Like if it's feeling easy, then that means you're not learning, and that's not okay. And then I'm just gonna hit OK. And it's not perfect. It is actually, in fact, I'm not a huge fan of how thick that is, so I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna click on styles, and I think that I actually want it to be a little bit thinner. Um, And right now it looks weird because you're like, but wait a minute, it's in front of the other wing. But when you draw that wing, it'll show it. So what I want to do now is I want to make it the right color. So I'm going to click on vector fill, and we just happen to have the right brown. But remember, if you didn't, you'd use the eyedropper tool, click on it, and that'll help you pick that brown. And so now I have my vector fill, and I'm going to fill that in. There we go. And now I can see why we had the 12 because it gets rid of some of it. Style, gotta go to 12. Okay, now I'm gonna let you guys kind of figure out the rest of it. Oh, that's not true. So I am going to take this layer, gonna click up here, and I'm gonna move that path layer below the clip art. And again, if I go like this, that wing's a little chunky. It's okay. What we need to do now, though, is make this to make it look like that wing has some gradient to it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use that path tool again, and we're going to turn off the fill and just use the outline. And I'm just going to like come in here. Like I said, it can get kind of weird around corners, but we can fix that a little bit by bringing this in, bringing that down. Okay. So you're just kind of always messing around with the arms to make it. That's what you call those little blue things that pop out. It's called an arm. Do what you want it to do. It's never perfect in Sketchpad. If you ever get a chance to use um, something like Adobe Illustrator or InDesign, it works a lot better. So I'm going to finish it, but like now I don't want it to look like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go to Styles. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Sorry. I need to click on just the wing. I'm going to click on Styles. So there's not going to be an outline on this. Your fill is going to be just a bit of a darker brown. Great. Lovely. So now when I turn this clip art, I'm going to move my path down. When I turn clip art off, you can see that it starts to look like this part of the wing is a little bit darker and shaded. So that's how you do that. So I'm going to ask that you guys try your best to finish as much of this owl as you can. I would like to see I would like to see it complete, but I also know that that will take you a long time. So work on this for about half an hour or so and get as much as you can done. Thank you for watching.